Welcome to the Narrowboat at Jamesville. Hope you're well. Well, I've come out for a little walk, given the fact it's New Year's Day, and I've come to Foxton Locks, which, as I've mentioned before, is an impressive place. Certainly in terms of its engineering, it's just mind-boggling. It's really high up here, so the canal has to climb up a hill or go down a hill, depending on what way you're travelling. This is where the Leicester arm joins the Grand Union. And the reason why it's such a kind of a hub of activity here is because back in the day there was obviously a lot of trade coming through here. You can see how high up we are here. And there's 4 more locks to go up there as well. It's absolutely amazing here. It's like stepping back in time. I'm half expecting Isambard Kingdom Brunel to turn up around the corner. So this is the top lock at Foxton. It's quite a big one. And there you can see all the way to the bottom of the flight, right down to the pub there at the bottom. That's a nice brass plaque depicting canal life in 1900. Okay, so here we are at the bottom of Foxton Locks. Excuse the colour of the water, it's been a bit rainy recently. It usually looks nicer than this. But there's a couple of pubs here, a couple of cafes, hotel. It's a great little spot, it's really nice. That was a nice time out of Foxton, but unfortunately it's not all play. I've got to crack on. So I'm going to do a bit more CLS on the bow up here. Actually someone mentioned CLS, wondered what it meant. Basically it's this stuff here. I've chosen a really bad piece to show you. Actually I haven't. It's this stuff here. And it stands for Canadian Lumber Standard. And the reason it's that is because that's exactly what you get. I mean, in fairness, they're not all brilliant, depending on where you go. Some retailers in this country, some orange coloured ones, you'll be amazed at the quality of timber. But if you go to a good timber yard, 9 times out of 10 the stock's pretty good and you get it nice and square. But that's the idea of it. It's standard, it's meant to be, and it was designed for building log houses and log timber frame structures. So anyway, that's what I'm using for this. But before I do that, I need to change the blade on my jigsaw because the last time I used it was up on the roof. So I'll just go back to a basic 111C. Cut it on the up. So now I've made the frame around here for that second level. I'm going to go about cutting the CLS. I've changed my mind with the way these are going to be orientated, these bits of CLS on this upper deck. That's because I was thinking of having them that way, because obviously they're stronger on that edge, we know that. But given the fact that that would be true if the case were that they were being held on purely by the ends. Now that's not going to happen because these battens here aren't particularly strong. That is not going to be the full load bearing on those battens here. It's going to be provided by uprights going from here, in which case it makes no difference if that's that way or that way. But if it's this way, it's easier to screw through into there, and it provides more space, more height this way. Yes, it does reduce the space in there slightly, but it's easier to fix it in, so I'm just going to go with that. And it matches up with that. So again, if anyone, with that lower deck, so if anyone's got OCD issues about things not matching up, then hopefully that will put your minds at rest somewhat. So I'm just going to fix that in there. Where's those big screws gone? This is not something I had taken into account. All of my tools, my manual screwdrivers, are quite long. I haven't got any of those short stubby ones. And this one here, I haven't got the clearance on my, well, I might have now. So I'm having to resort to using my Leatherman, which is the smallest tool I've got, and it's not exactly designed for jobs like this, but it's working. As I said, I've just got to get it to a certain point before I can get my screwdriver onto there. Hopefully that'll have to come out. It's the same deal with the drill. Right, next piece. Right, so the second deck is in. You'll see I've put in some uprights. They're not fixed in yet, I'll do that later on tonight. Well, I for one, I'm pretty happy with the proportions of this. It certainly is strong enough to hold my weight. Ample headroom, even once you got a cushion on here, that's plenty. Nice height for the hatch, perfect elbow height. So yeah, all things considered, good afternoon's work. Well, I must say I'm really happy with how the bow deck has worked out in terms of that seating area. It's plenty of room above it between up to the gunnels, so that's really quite critical. At its widest, it's 6 foot, so that's cool. And at its deepest, it's 1.4, 1.5 meters. So I think that's 5 foot. So that's going to be fine for the twins to sleep in, or an adult curled up. I don't know. So yeah, really happy with how that's come out. I've got some uprights to put in, so a few more just to give it a bit more kind of rigidity. So that's those things, and they're going to be in place just with some of those brackets that I went out and bought the other day. So just to as I say, give it a bit of rigidity. But it's pretty sturdy. You saw me on it, and yeah, it feels fine. That had a few of the supports on, so there's a few more to put on, so happy days. It's nice going to Foxton today. It's up from here, so if you were to go up, well, north, I'm used to saying up and downstream because I'm used to the Thames, but you don't really have up and downstream on canals because they kind of go up and down. But if you head north, up the Leicester Arm, you go through the Bosworth Tunnel and then you get to Foxton, and so that's where it was today. So it was nice to get out and about and see some of the other spots on the canal, so that was good. And I came back to some really nice photos sent by Jen, so thank you, Jen. It was really kind of you. You went out, she went out canoeing today on the Kennet and Avon, and it just looks so nice. I mean, Kennet and Avon is just such a lovely stretch of water anyway. For those of you who don't know, it goes from Bristol to Reading, and it used to obviously link up the River Avon with London essentially, because it joins the Thames at Reading. But it's yeah, the spot where you are is just so pretty. The architecture around there's aqueducts galore in that neck of the woods, and there's just some really cool bits of engineering. So yeah, I'm well gel. The other things really on my list to kind of crack on with, actually something that I was going to say, I've got to carry on with the blacking, but many people have commented on the last video about the blacking of the underneath of a boat. And there is two schools of thought on that basically. The biggest issue is how do you physically get underneath it? You've got to raise the boat quite high to black it. So that poses quite a few issues in itself. Even on a dry dock, it's hard to get a boat that high and have any level of stability. And if you're going to be on it, you don't want it to be that high off the ground. So you tend not to do it for that reason. The other reason is, the reason why you black a boat is it provides an extra layer or two or three against corrosion. There is elements of, there's electrons in the water which erode the steel. None of this works. Boats just, it just doesn't work. Electrics, water, steel, the whole thing just is a mess. But it only really corrodes and rust occurs when the waterline mixes with, at the waterline where it mixes with air. So you've got water, steel and air, that will create rust. Underneath, at the bottom of the boat, is kind of 100% underwater. So for that reason, it tends not to get affected by rust, certainly not from the outside. On the inside, definitely, there is always problems with the rust. So boats tend to rust from the inside out. So that's why I'm not going to black the bottom of the boat. That's why many people don't. It's also made of thicker steel, and if you are to scrape the bottom of the boat along the canal, you're just going to rip the paint off anyway, so you tend not to do it. So I've got some more blacking on that to do tomorrow. I've got to cut the flue, so we need to take about 300mm off the top of the flue, so I think I'll give that to Paul to do. I've got some more electrics and conduit to do. I need to build the engine bay as well, so that's a bit of a mucky crap job, but someone's got to do it. And that's about it really for tomorrow. And in about 100 years, my shower tray is going to arrive, so that'll be good. Anyway, hope you're well. Thanks for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.